Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Anime Lounge Podcast. I'm your host, Matt, and unfortunately, Lantz could not join us for this episode because he was a little indisposed on vacation, but Ryan was gracious enough to join me on this episode.
Glad to be here, man.
I know you've joined us on the first Bleach Thousand Year Blood War episode. It's good to have you back.
Yeah. Glad I could make it, man.
This is definitely gonna be a fun one because we are talking about MF Ghost, the sequel to Initial D, and definitely got hyped about it. And yeah, we'll definitely, as two car people, it'll be fun talking about cars, even though this show is only kind of talking about cars. To give a quick synopsis about MF Ghost, it is in a future Japan where everybody has self-driving electric cars, and there is this street racing organization called MFG, most popular racing in the world, and they use all gas-powered vehicles. And the main character is Kanata Livington, who is a half British, half Japanese person, and his father comes from Japan, and he goes to Japan to try and find his dad. And that's really what it is. He races and he tries to find his dad. That's season 1 for sure. And, Ryan is less than enthused about season 1. I can't wait to get his words on season 1 when we get into it.
Yeah, man. We'll get into it. All right.
Before we get too far, I do have a Japanese word for today. And the Japanese word for today is race, and that is jinshu, Jinshu. Obviously, everything is about racing, so jinshu is the Japanese word for today.
It's a good one.
It is a good one.
I know I've used that at work, man.
You can. I guarantee you'll be able to use that one at work. Before we get into it too far, let's get into some manga mentions. NANI?! So we will be talking about season 1 and season 2. So my notes are just kind of both of those things. Where season 2 leaves off is chapter 112. That's essentially where the third race starts. There's some changes in some things within the third race. So start reading there. If you want to read just where the season ends, but you're okay with missing some stuff, Kanata overtakes or makes his comments at the end of season 2 on chapters 123, and then that's out of 275, so we're about halfway through the series. To go all the way back from the beginning, basically you get to see more of everybody's races, especially Shun's race, so the guy with the GTR. We get to watch more of his initial qualifying race. It was fun watching it as far as the manga is concerned. They talk about how Kanata had to go to Tokyo to get his license to be able to drive, because without a license, you could not race in MFG. Michael Beckenbauer is 21. I don't remember if they talk about how old he actually is, but he's 21. Something that was kind of interesting, as somebody who likes cars, their sponsorship for tires is 50%. So they only have to pay 50% for their tires.
It's a good deal.
That is a very good deal, especially when you go through a set of tires in a qualifying race.
Yeah, 40 kilometers to waste a set of tires. Definitely those discounts.
Something that was kind of interesting, Ogata had to apply to be in the booth on that qualifying, so he wasn't just given the chance to be in the to be in the booth. There are, when they qualify, Ryan, this will make sense to you, but they do it in stages. So one person goes a little bit later, another person goes, and another person goes. Yep. Like that's how they get through their qualifying. Makes complete sense to people who, pay attention to racing, but that's not how they make it appear in the anime. Kanata on the first qualifying race got 16th by 0.019 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty short. When Ren slaps Kanata when she finds out that he's in MFG, you don't see that in the manga. They just kind of bring it up after the fact.
Okay.
To make it even more funny, the 86 Ogata bought used. So it was an old car when he bought it, and it's an even older car now. And then something hybrid engines are not allowed, so it has to be full, just a non-hybrid engine.
Okay, now I have a qualm with that one from something. Yes, we'll get to it.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I was like, no, there's no way. They kind of talk about it. They talk about all the 5 races, when and where they happen. Oh, here it is. The NSX, that's going to be your qualm, isn't it?
Yeah, I got huge qualms with that one.
They actually replaced the engine in the NSX to make it non-hybrid.
Yeah, because when they mentioned it in the show, they're like, oh, now he's driving this NSX, this rear-wheel drive mid-engine car from Honda. I'm like, hold on now. No, that car is all-wheel drive. I don't want to hear that. Like, what are they even getting at here? So, yeah, I had some qualms with that one.
Yeah, they changed some things. That's rear-wheel drive mid-engine, apparently.
Right.
One thing that was cool is you got to see them actually working on the turbo upgrade, like actually changing out components.
Yeah.
But that's it. That is all I have as far as the manga is concerned. There's nothing really too different. Pretty on par for what you saw in the anime.
Okay.
One thing I forgot to mention is our adult beverages of choice. So before we get into the anime talk, because I know Ryan's really looking forward to it, let's talk about what we're drinking today. Ryan, what are you drinking today?
This evening, I am sipping on this lovely Glenmorangie Signet. It is a Highland Scotch that is made with chocolate malt, so it's got a very dark note to it. It's very good.
Fancy. Okay, you going way deeper than what we normally do. I appreciate it. It's good though, right?
Oh, it's very good. Very, very good.
Awesome. The box is very cool. For anybody who can't see, Ryan is sitting next to it, and it's a very interesting box. It looks fancy as it sounds. And then definitely. I am drinking some more E.H. Taylor because I finished out my Gypsy while we were kind of BSing before we started recording. So now I switched on to something even better with some E.H. Taylor. It's been a minute since I've drank this. And because it's a Sunday, I'm not having any beer because I don't need to add that to my list of things. All right, let's get into some anime talk. Ryan, do I need to apologize for recommending this? I was excited for it because it was the sequel, to Initial D. I thought it was going to be a lot of fun. It had some vibes. Some Initial D vibes to it. So but that was about as far as it went.
So for me, I watched Initial D back in like 2007, 2008, when it was
new.
Yeah, when it was new. Actually, I watched it in college, and one of the guys at my school had an 86 done up like the 86 from Initial D, which was super cool. He brought it to a couple. Yeah, he brought it to a couple anime conventions there. But for me, when you mentioned that it was the successor to Initial D, so Initial D is very like old school street racing at night, away from everybody type vibes, and it was that was a very cool aspect to it, and that was long before I knew as much about cars and performance driving as I do now. And watching MF Ghost, I'm like, this doesn't feel like Initial D at all. Like, no. Like I understand what they were trying to go for. Definitely that spiritual successor by using the GR86 as like the hero car. So that I get that kind of vibe from it and everything. But man, that some of the stuff that they bring up during the races and describing the cars and everything, and the way that they were driving and different driving techniques, I'm like, yeah, this is all wrong. Like all of this is wrong. Like none of this makes any sense at all. And it was kind of killing me a little bit. I'm like, yo, like, come on now. And
yeah, that's fair.
Because I learned a lot about performance driving while I was out in Germany at the Nürburgring, like techniques and the way that different layouts of cars, like front engine versus mid engine versus rear engine, all behave and all that stuff, trail braking, drifting, and all that. And listening to this show like was so cringy to me. I'm sorry, man. It was kind of rough, but I could definitely see how a non-car enthusiast, like maybe a teenager or something like that, could really get a kick out of this show.
Yep.
So that was some of my qualms with it.
That is completely fair. This was probably, as you said, written in the manner in which, like, I know they later in the manga they talk about, just how the different vehicles have different driving techniques, but everybody drives the exact same way, and that's an issue. The only time they bring anything up is when Shun in, the front wheel drive or the front engine all wheel drive GTR, it just has more power, has more grip, and that's, can get around some vehicles that are either rear wheel drive or front wheel drive. And there's that's about it. That's all you got.
And my thing about that too is and I apologize to any of the listeners or watchers if this gets a little into the weeds for our performance driving talk and automotive things, but like the big benefit for all-wheel drive cars in general is their off-the-line grip, so drag racing.
Yep.
And when it comes to, just from my personal experience, when it comes to low-speed corners and maybe longer sweeping high-speed corners, they have better grip in those types of situations. Like, they're not going to break loose and drift as easily as the other ones, so they can get through the turns a lot faster. And despite what the show says, to you listeners that may watch this, drifting is slower going around turns, just so you can go ahead and get that out of the way. Because when they were talking about Kanata doing his signature 4-wheel drift to get around these turns, I'm like, nah, drifting slower. I don't even know why they're bringing that up. I mean,
well, that's because so it's supposed to be, oh man, what is from Initial D? It's the main character. Fujiwara. Takumi Fujiwara. There it is.
Yeah.
He does that, and he's faster, and so it's supposed to be an homage to that, but it's like it's I get it. It's not true. Just like I think because I watched Initial D last year. I watched part of it growing up in the early 2000s, but I definitely didn't get to watch all of it. I actually didn't even get to watch all of it last year because Crunchyroll did not renew their license for it. And I got to the second to last season, last race of that season. I was like, are you serious right now? I went to go watch it the next day and it was just gone. I was very frustrated. I'm like, I couldn't even get through this season. It was very frustrating.
Yeah, I can understand that frustration.
So I get it. They're trying to pay homage and bring in Initial D and be like, see, this is Initial D. This is still the same. Obviously, it's not the same thing, but
like I totally get that aspect of it. But man, that
yes,
especially so in Initial D, I can maybe kind of understand it because the cars they were using, older technology. And
you're talking 80s. This is supposed to be an 80s or no, a 90s.
Yeah.
The RX-7 was new.
Yeah.
So early mid 2000 mid to early 90s. Because I think that was 90. I think it was like a 96 RX-7 or something like that.
Yeah. So I can kind of get some of that, especially since a lot of the racing in Initial D was downhill.
Yep.
But on MF Ghost, they're doing this really long circuit, which that wouldn't have worked. And the way so I think it was episode 4 or 5 when he was in his qualifying round, and they were like, oh, he's just gaining so much time so rapidly, just moving up the ranks. I'm like, no, that's not how it works. And for the listeners and viewers, that 0.19 seconds that he missed out on 15th place by over a track that large. So if you don't know kilometers, it's probably about 24 miles, 25 miles. To miss out by basically 0.2 of a second, that's like nothing. That's him on the bumper of the car in front of him.
Yep.
So, and the cars that were ahead of him, this is my other qualm, man. So one of the more impressive things that I've seen, and this is real life, when I was on the Nürburgring, when I was still learning the track, I had a Camaro SS, a 2016 Camaro SS. It had 450 horsepower. It handled like it was on rails, which was pretty crazy for a rear-wheel drive car. So, like I said, I was still learning the track. I was probably 5 or 6 laps under my belt. And there was an FRS GR86 that for the first maybe 3 miles of that track was on my bumper, and I could not lose him at all. And that was primarily because of the tightness of the turns and all that. But as soon as we got onto a part of the track that was mildly straight, it wasn't even close. He couldn't even stay with me at all. And watching this show where he's in a GR86 going up against Porsche GT3s, GTRs, the Alfa Romeo 4C. What was that other car that was riding with the 4C? The Lotus.
Yep, the Lotus.
So the Lotus and Alfa Romeo 4C, horsepower-wise, so this particular scene where he had slowed down to let them catch up so he could get into a slipstream with them. Okay, the 4C and Lotus, they are literal go-karts with a car body on them.
Yes.
They handle like you would not believe. They're both mid-engine cars. The GR86 is front-engine car. In the real world, with real physics, not anime physics, there's no way he would have been that far out ahead of those two cars with decent drivers. And then when he pulled into the slipstream behind those two, also for the listeners, if you don't understand what a slipstream is, that's when the car in front of you is punching a hole in the air for you. So that way you don't have to put up with the air resistance from the air hitting the front of your car. So it's basically helping you go faster. I understand that works for cars with similar power and similar capabilities. That GR86 wouldn't have been able to stay that close to those cars. Not a snowball's chance, and you know where would that have happened in real life. I don't. Yeah. And that one. Yeah.
That's not going to make him be able to top out at, we'll say, 130 miles an hour to be able to go 150 miles an hour. That's not how that works. That's not how. Like, he's just not going to get pushed along just because of a slipstream. That part, it's 100% anime logic. Also, for anybody who doesn't know, the Nuremberg track is about 13 miles long. Just to give kind of a perspective. So, we're talking two trips around the Nuremberg for this qualifier.
Yeah. So, and like the way that he was murdering his tires as well, like he wasn't even like halfway through the circuit when he started this drifting thing.
Yep.
He wouldn't have had the grip to go through the rest of the turns with any reasonable amount of speed. Like,
what are you talking about? He went through some British racing school. He knows exactly how to use his tires.
I'm trying not to curse on your podcast, man.
You can't. It's okay. It's all good.
Yeah. Fuck that shit. That's not how driving works. Okay. Like, yes, I know. Like I get anime logic. If you go into this show blank slate, not knowing performance driving or how that stuff works, it can be a very enjoyable show. The way they do build up the drama and all that stuff, fine. I get it. I'll let them have that. Yep. But me going into it with the background I have, I'm like, this is stupid. Like, no to all of this. And there was this anime. It was an isekai, not Blue Exorcist, something along the lines of that title, where the main character got sucked into a video game world. And something the narrator did during that show was it would constantly break down video game and RPG logic for you. Like, oh, they're doing this to gain experience points because you need experience points to level up and gain skills and blah, blah, blah. I felt like that was happening in this show, where they would be like, oh, we have so-and-so in this Lamborghini with its 5.2 liter V10 and its all-wheel drive system that allows it to do blah, 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 blah. I'm like, I know that already. You don't have to break it down for me. Just get into like some of the basics. And I get they're trying to do that to bring more people into understanding what's going on from a base level. But man, it was painful. It was painful, man. And Like I don't want to just rag on it, but golly.
No,
It's
I get it. This show, for anybody who knows a good amount of stuff about cars, especially like yourself, it's hard to watch because it's not real. It's nowhere near close to realistic. Just like if you were to watch Initial D without the nostalgia glasses, you'd probably feel the same way because you're talking like a 100 horsepower 86 versus an R32 versus a
RX-7.
RX-7. All these cars that are 300 horsepower quotes versus an 86, which is literally like 120 horsepower. And then you find
Right.
out, oh yeah, it's actually not. His dad did a bunch of work to it, and you're like, really? And so it's kind of one of
Right.
those things where it's very similar. To me, it's one of those things. It was just kind of fun to watch the cars go around, see all these cool cars, with 100% anime logic, everything into getting it to work. Because,
Yeah.
like you said, there is no way a 86 is going to beat a Ferrari around a drive payment 40-mile track, 20-mile
Right.
track, whatever it is. Like, that's not happening. It's not beating a Lamborghini going around this, because really all you're doing is going through a mountain pass. It's not happening.
Right. And I think one of the other things that was kind of interesting to me too was before, what's his name? The main character.
Yeah.
When they were talking about, okay, man, this is your qualifying.
Kanata. That's what it is.
Yeah. When they were talking to him, and they're like, all right, this is your qualifying. This is a pretty big track, so watch out for these points because of this thing and this thing.
Yep.
And he was like, no, it's okay. I got it memorized. And he's like, there's no way. And I'm like, okay. So another aspect thing. Nürburgring in miles, like 12, 13 miles long. It has 73 corners. It took me personally, and I have a fairly decent memory. It took me probably 4 full laps to understand, okay, I get my braking points. I can kind of be like, okay, I know this turn is coming up. That's 13 miles. This track that he's talking about is twice as long.
Yep.
Now I can get on board with, yeah, he probably memorized it. I get that. He hasn't physically driven it, so the elevation changes and stuff like that might be a little sketchy. But for the most part, you know what's coming up. Driving through that death zone and the like zero visibility fog.
Yes. Pure sketchiness.
Yeah, that is pure sketchiness, like 100%. But I don't know. That one you have to put on that veil of disbelief to be like, all right, yeah, he's got this, no problem. He's the hero. Of course he's got this. He's not going to just hit a turn and crash.
Plot armor, come on.
Yeah, exactly. Plot armor. But at the same time, so there's this other super big race that happens over in England. I think they actually stopped doing it because of how many people were dying on it. The Isle of Man time trial.
Yes. Yep.
So that one is about as long as this race on the show, maybe a little bit longer. And you got people ripping through there on super bikes like it's nothing. I'm like,
you're talking flat out jumping.
Yeah.
On super bikes. Yeah. Yep.
And I'm like, okay, if those dudes can do that, then I can believe this whole he's got it memorized thing. I can get on board with that. That's believable.
Yep.
But yeah, the whole capability difference, I will say, in the vehicles that are in this show is so unrealistic for me. Like, that's not even close.
So, playing devil's advocate just slightly, I am going to say part of the point of this, they do kind of talk about it in season 2, which, spoiler alert, Ryan did not get to watch season 2 because Ryan could barely make it through season 1. And that's going to be a little change we're going to be doing later on when we start talking about season 2 is just kind of, we're going to be talking about it in the aspect that Ryan hasn't watched season 2 because he hasn't. But one thing that they talk about is essentially what happens when you bring somebody who is a good racer against a bunch of people who just have money. So, as somebody who's driven on the Nürburgring, when you have a professional driver on the Nürburgring versus yourself, we'll just say the first time you've been on it. Huge difference, right? You could
Yes.
get somebody in an 86, just to use the example from the show, and you could have given yourself $100,000 car, and you probably good chance would have lost.
100%. Yes. 100%.
And that's really what they're trying to bring out, is the fact that nobody who is worth anything has ever tried to drive this. Kanata, Michael, and then the guy who loves 17-year-olds, which is really weird.
Yeah,
Those
that
are
guy's
the
weird.
That's very, very weird. And we can talk about him later on. Those are the only 3 people who are actual racers that have ever done this. Everybody else is just a bunch of people who have money that want attention. And that is something, like I said, this is something that they bring up in season 2, which is, so Renosuke, you remember Renosuke?
Which one was
He's the guy who drives the yellow RX-7.
Okay.
You come to find out that he is one of the people who created MF Ghost.
Okay.
And the other person who creates MF Ghost is his brother. And the essentially what it turns into is now we have people who can actually drive that are coming into this, and let's start getting our people into this. So in season 2, you get one of his disciples to come in. Basically, it's his best driver comes in and drives a new Supra, and he qualifies, I want to say 5th.
Okay.
Might have been 4th on his first time through. This is after Kanata gets a turbo into his 86. So he actually has some,
Yep.
I think they said he has 300 horsepower. So, this is probably going to give himself at least on par with most everybody else, as far as he has the driving technique. He has a car that at least has some sort of horsepower to it, and he can actually keep up. I think he gets 3rd place, 2nd place, one of the two. In the 3rd race. So you watch the first race, and then the 2nd race, and the 3rd race are in season 2. Season 2 is I actually like season 2 a lot better than season 1, because it's all about driving. Basically, they have to drive in a torrential downpour the entire race in season 2. And the announcer, being the announcer guy, who's like, well, pretty much everybody's on par, because, as you know, driving in heavy rain, trying to race in heavy rain, you can't really put anything into it. So everybody is pretty much on par when it comes to horsepower. And
okay, my devil's advocate for that one. So driving in the wet is definitely way different than driving on dry tarmac.
Yes.
However, extraordinarily skilled drivers could still put down amazing performances in the rain. Like there was this one guy at the Nürburgring. He would only drive there when it was raining.
It's like, showing off, right? That's what that is.
His car, he had a Mini Cooper S that he had done suspension work, brakes, and very, very, very light engine work. And one thing about driving in wet, the driving lines are completely different, because you can't put down the same amount of grip you can going through on the dry.
Yep.
But if you have someone that is very, very skilled doing that, then they can still be incredibly competitive. I totally get that. And definitely what you were saying about the power thing, that's definitely a big thing for him in the 86, because they bring that up a bunch during the first season in his qualifying race, especially on the elevation changes, because that is a huge factor. You may have the power to go around turns when they're kind of level, but once you start getting into those areas that are uphill, then you're going to struggle a lot, which also was another qualm with me, because I'm like, okay, you have like so much less horsepower and somehow you're still making up time in the uphill portions. Nope, wrong. That's not a thing. Like, yeah. So the rain one, that'd be minorly interesting to watch.
He ends up getting, well, I won't spoil it. He does well in the rain, because it rains pretty much the entire time, all the way up till like halfway through the last lap. And then he gets into kind of some things happen, and we'll put it that way. And then the 3rd race, he gets turbo. There's a long pause. So there's some more just kind of, let's get back into making this more of a slice of life versus a race a race show. Whatever. So they do the turbo upgrade, which is a part of the manga mentioned that I talk about, where you get to actually see the turbo upgrade happening versus in the anime. They're just kind of like, and you have a turbo upgrade. How big of a turbo do you want? He's like, 300 horsepower should be good. And he's like, all right, we can do that. So then they slap a turbo on, do some other stuff to it. But that's the big thing is now he has a turbo. Now he's more competitive. And so he does well. But the biggest thing is they talk about how there are now 3 drivers that have beat the course record, which is set by Renosuke. And that's something that you find out in season 2, that the yellow car that is in the tutorial videos is all Renosuke. Something you find out later is that Renosuke wasn't even trying when he did this. So that also proves just how terrible of drivers these people are, is that Renosuke is only like kind of trying, and they can't beat him after 3 years. So this is the 4th year of MF Ghost. That's something else they kind of talk about.
Okay.
So basically all these drivers, they're just a bunch of people with money that like cars. You know it, being around the car community, you've seen those people. They have money. They can't drive, even if somebody paid them to be able to drive.
Yeah. So another Nürburgring story real quick. So when I took my Camaro up there, and I had gotten comfortable with driving the track. So for some context, a halfway decent driver, which I will say I'm halfway decent, could get around the Nürburgring, which like I said, like 13 miles or so, in 7 to 8 minutes, which is that's moving.
Yeah, that's real quick.
By the time I was leaving Germany, I was trying to get to the like 7-minute 30 mark, which my fastest time was 7:45. And that was in a BMW M3. It was rear-wheel drive. I had close to 500 horsepower. I had a friend whose name, oddly enough, is also Ryan. He took me around in his Golf R, which is all-wheel drive, and I think it was stock engine, so it was like 300 horsepower. But he had done some works to the brakes and the suspension. He took me around as a passenger in his car in like 720.
So in your BMW, no suspension, just engine work, right?
Yeah.
So obviously brakes, suspension matters, especially when you're going around a track. When you're on the highway, obviously engine work is going to be very helpful, but suspension work around a track is definitely going to play a big part.
So the 3 major ones that around a track make a difference the most, power doesn't matter, is brakes, suspension, tires. So that was one thing I liked in season 1 after he had done his qualifying. They're like, hey, all right, we're going to upgrade these brakes. We're going to put 6 pots in the front. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. That's feasible. Okay. Yep. They didn't mention anything about suspension. They mentioned that they were going to do intake and muffler work. And I'm like, okay.
So he already had upgraded suspension. So that was the thing.
So then they didn't need to do that.
Yep.
So that would add to the believability of this car being very capable.
Yes.
But the stuff that it was doing with these other cars, nah, bro. Nah, not at all. I don't care if this is in the future and these cars are like 50 years old with like crappy seals and everything in the engine. That ain't happening, brother. Because like I'll say probably my craziest feat on the Nürburgring. So one of the cars that's featured in season 1 is a 911 GT3. That car is absurdly capable, like insane capable.
That is everybody's least favorite driver, Michael, the German.
Right. So also one of the things he mentions during the race while he's driving it is how his car being rear engined is beneficial for his braking over a mid-engine car. No. One of the big things about braking into a turn is if you're inexperienced and you brake really hard into a turn, you're going to understeer. You're going to go straight on instead of actually turning.
Do you want to explain what understeering is? Because I don't know how much of our audience actually knows what understeer is.
Right. So when it comes to performance driving, there's 2 big things when it comes to steering. There's understeering and oversteering. Oversteering is when the back end of the car will swing out into a drift, kind of like what our MC does a lot, drifting. Understeering is when you're braking into a turn before you reach the turn, and you turn the wheels, but instead of the car turning, it keeps going straight. What you want to do when you're braking into a turn, you brake before you get to the turn. That loads up the front of the suspension, the front of the car, and puts more weight on the front tires so that they grip better. So having an engine up there would help. That can also hurt you if you over brake, because that will cause the understeer. But if you brake properly, you brake into the turn before you get to the where you need to turn into the apex, which is the peak of the turn, which you want to meet. You will ease off of the brake or let off the brake, because that weight that's been transferred to the front of the car will turn it. Rear engine car, the weight's at the back. That would cause an oversteer situation. So when he was explaining that, I'm like, nah, bro, that ain't it. And then like when they were starting that particular race, they were talking about how a super skilled driver can expertly control the temperatures of each tire individually. Now, no to all of that. That is BS. Unless there's like random puddles of water on the track that you can just like, all right, I'm gonna dip this tire into the puddle to cool it down. Yeah, that's how you would do that. But no, that was kind of frustrating because I was okay. To be fair to you, Matt. So I threw this show on during the day-to-day in my background while I was playing Destiny. I watched it. I paid attention because my monitor's right here. It was all there, and I turned it up extra loud so I could hear what they were saying. And every time they would say something ridiculous, I would have to stop playing my game just to look over and see what they were talking about. And I'm like, why is Matt got me watching this? Like, good grief, man. But it was that kind of stuff that was killing me the most. Like the animation for how old the show is pretty decent animation. The kind of CG of the cars was, I'm like, okay, I get it. I get what they were trying to go for here. But I'm like, man, so I watched it dubbed. I don't know if you watched it dubbed or subbed.
I watched it both.
Okay, so I watched it dubbed. That was killing me, man. Like the way they were trying to pronounce some of these car names. I'm like, y'all are trying way too hard. Like, yeah, man, I need the Huracan Performante. I'm like, just stop, man. Just y'all are overdoing it for like no reason. And
I'm gonna be nice on the voice actor. It was either one of two things: they don't like cars, or the director was like, no, you really need to go into it. And that's probably what it was, is they didn't know cars. And the director was probably like, it's probably this. And you're just like, no, that's because as car people, how a lot of people pronounce a lot of cars is wrong.
Yes.
And nobody cares.
That is accurate.
You like can tell Porsche. Somebody how to, yes. Sorry, continue.
Porsche.
Yes.
So yeah, that was kind of killing me. But what I was saying, the GT3. So I haven't driven a GT3, but I've driven a GT3 RS, which is the step up from that car.
Yes.
And my story. So I was up at the Nürburgring. I was in my Camaro. Like I said, it's an American muscle car's front engine. It tends to oversteer a little bit if you're like not careful. So I was driving around and I came up on a Porsche GT3. That car should have not even been in my sightline. I shouldn't have been able to been close to that car.
Yep.
And I passed it like it was standing still, and I left him. After I got off the track, he came and found me. And so I had a 2016 sixth generation of the Camaro, and it was like one of the first ones in Germany. So nobody had ever seen one before. And the guy came up and found me, and he's like, hey man, what is this car? I'm like, oh, it's Camaro. And he's like, well, yeah, it's Camaro, but what do you have done to it? You got suspension stuff? I'm like, nah, it's just stock Camaro. And he's like, well, how'd you pass me like that, man? I'm like, well, not to be mean or anything, probably just need to learn to drive better because I shouldn't have been able to pass you. And that's like what you were talking about, rich guys with expensive cars that don't know how to drive. And that's kind of what happened there. And I can see what you're saying with the show, that's what's going on.
Yep.
Especially that dude with the Lamborghini Performante. I'm like, bro, you probably don't even know what that car is capable of. So
you should be winning everything.
Yeah, you should be winning everything.
Yes.
But you are not. I mean, so the GTR that's in the show is a Nismo GTR.
Yep.
That and the Huracan Performante, they'd be kind of neck and neck in terms of performance and everything. Because
Yep.
have you ever been in a GTR?
Unfortunately, no.
I've been in a GTR. They work some weird fairy science magic on that car, because for how much it weighs, its front engine is all-wheel drive, which are both already like marks against it in terms of how it should be able to perform. That car is witchcraft. It performs like you would not believe, and the Nismo one even more. So yeah, that car should have been winning everything.
Basically what they say is he doesn't know how to manage his tires. He always runs out of traction, which, you know, for somebody who drives hard every corner, I can see it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Like if you can't manage going through the turns in a correct way, you're definitely going to kill your tires really, really quickly.
Yeah.
So I completely get what they're going with and all that. And I stick to my verdict of, if you're a car enthusiast and you're going into this show and you like performance driving, throw all that out of the window before you start. Yes, then you'll enjoy it far more.
You have to put it in two mindsets. Don't take it too serious. There's going to be some plot armor in with the 86, and assume every other driver sucks at driving. If you do that, you could believe that a 150 horsepower car can keep up with a 500-600 horsepower car. No problems.
100%.
On dry pavement.
100%.
And I will say it was fun seeing all the cars, kind of seeing the concept out, especially in the season one. My thing was like, okay, how is this initial D? How do we get into initial D? How does this correlate? Because there's almost nothing that they talk about besides the
drifting.
The drifting. And then we find out that he is Fujiwara's one of his
proteges.
Yeah, one of his proteges. And you're like, oh, okay, where does it go from here? Right. And that's really about all you get in season one. Like I had said, in season two, we find out about Renosuke, and we find out about, give me 1 second. I'm going to try and, I'm trying to figure out what Renosuke's brother's name is, because that is also, so you have Renosuke is the oldest brother. So he's the one that is basically, he comes up with the Project Dream or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
And so he is the creator of MF Ghost. And then Kisaki is the younger brother who drives the RX-7. He is the other person that creates MF Ghost. And he's like the figurehead of MF Ghost, while Renosuke is essentially just the creator, exactly like how Project Dream was, where Renosuke was the one who kind of created everything and wanted everything to be a certain way, and his brother was the one who went out and did everything. It's the same concept.
Okay.
And so you get Kisaki. He comes out and he's like, yep, I'm going to get my driver, because essentially what they come up with is there needs to be 2 or 3 drivers that have to pass his set times, which are the course records at this point. And up to that point, for the 3 years, nobody had set any course records, so nobody beat his time. So he didn't have any of his, he essentially handicapped the whole thing and did not allow any of his drivers to go out. And then on the third race is when we finally get introduced to his drivers.
Okay.
And yeah, pretty much always I did read ahead. Basically from the third race on, you're going to have the top 2 drivers, which are Michael and I'm drawing a blank on what the creepy 17-year-old lover guy.
That is totally unnecessary in the show, by the way. That did not have to be in there.
100%. 100%. No, they and it's really gross. It's weird.
Like
bring it up a lot.
Yeah, like in the beginning of season 1, when he was at the counter, it's like, hey, who's girl number 7? What's up with that? you just give me some info on her. I'm like, ew, being creepy here, man.
Well, we can say that because we know that Ren is girl number 7. We know that she's 17. Shun, you find out in season 2, he thinks she is older. She does stuff to make herself appear older. Throughout the course of the races, we find she does a lot of things to prove that she is not older. And Shun basically is like, yeah, never mind. That essentially what it turns into is never mind. She's too young for me.
Right. But still
Yep.
creepy.
Very weird. Very, very weird. Kooky. Yeah. He mentions his girlfriend a lot throughout the series. It's weird. That's about all I can say about it. Honestly, I wish that entire like half an episode just didn't exist. For anybody who has watched the show, you know exactly what I'm talking about. For anybody who hasn't watched the show, it deals with Kooky, and that's about all I want to say about it. You can infer whatever you want to, and you might be correct in everything you're thinking. It's yeah. I don't like him. I will say, as you read, basically after the third race, he's like, you know what? I actually care about driving, and it's like, cool. Can you just care about driving? Can you stop bringing up your girlfriend? No, does not stop. It essentially is Kanata, Michael, and Kooky are going to be the cream of the crop. We'll put it that way when it comes to moving forward. And then you do get another person from England. You'll get that Senna. You meet Senna. Senna is the protege of Kiseki. So he's the new Project Dream racer who finally gets to race now that some people have beaten the course record.
Their name is Senna.
His name. It's a guy. Yes. Sena.
That is a very bold choice of names. There's a reason that's a bold choice of names. Ayrton Senna was one of the greatest Formula One drivers ever to live.
That's probably where it comes from. Let's be completely honest. Yes, his name is Senna Moriboshi.
Yeah. If you name your kid Senna, their only choice is to be a race car driver.
And he is Kiseki's like ace driver. So
I guess that makes sense then.
Yeah, I guess it works out. But as far as, I guess let's kind of go back into from season 1. Now that we've kind of talked about it a little bit of, hey, take this as the person who actually knows what they're doing when it comes to driving versus a bunch of people who don't know what they're doing about driving. Does that help it at all?
No.
Okay. That's
not for me.
That's fair.
Like I get that aspect of it, but like going into it blind, kind of like I did.
Yep.
Like the way that they were acting and talking up their driving skills and all this stuff. Nah, man. Like,
okay,
if they had played it that way more from the beginning, where it's like, hey, I'm going to be driving this Lamborghini or the Audi R8 or whatever.
Yep.
And if it played it as, oh, this dude is some trust fund baby that heard about this thing, then that would have, I guess, made it a little bit better for me. But knowing it after the fact,
that's fine. I get it. I mean, never going to make anybody do anything as far as these shows. I do appreciate you at least suffering through season 1. I didn't even think about it, to be completely honest. So that's on me when it comes to that one.
It's all good, man. Like I'm glad I could at least watch it to have this discussion with you about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I will say I am much, much, much more novice when it comes to racing. I've only ever done any sort of street activities. We'll put it that way. And so my experience is not even close to what yours is. And yeah, I enjoy cars. I just enjoyed watching the cars. I didn't think too deep about it. But yeah, coming from your angle where it's hard to not come in more
critical of.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Cause going into it, when I saw that the GR86 was the car he was going to be driving. I'm like, okay, it's a capable car. It's very balanced. So over like twisties, it'll be cool. And then you see the cars he's going against. I'm like, nah, man, nah, that's not how that works at all. Like
Yep.
you could take like if the main character, we'll just say his driving skills are 10 out of 10, right? So I keep going back to the GT3 because outside of the Nismo, that's probably the most capable car that they showed in season 1.
Mm-hmm.
And you put a driver that's, I don't know, 5.5, 6 out of 10 in a GT3. That 10 out of 10 driver in GR86 may be close, but they're not going to beat him.
Yep.
Now, if you put the main character in that GT3, it wouldn't even be a contest. Like this would be like the most boring show ever. Yep, he won again. Yep, he won again. That's cool. And like to put it into a slight perspective for people, and this is more car nerd stuff, and I'm really sorry for going that angle. So GR86 is rear tires, rear wheel drive car. Very famously, were very narrow from the factory. This car in the show doesn't look like it's had any body work in it, so fitting a wider tire in the rear would be very difficult. So that car's rear tires, I think, were from the factory. I think they were like 195 cross section or something like that, maybe 205.
I thought they were 185s. I thought they were.
Oh, yeah. 185s. They were super, super narrow.
Yeah. Because they were what I had on my bug eye, which, probably pretty comparable, but a rear wheel drive versus an all wheel drive.
Yeah. So for perspective, the GT3 that was featured in the show, its rear tires, which is also a rear wheel drive car, are like 305s.
Yep.
They are huge tires.
So I'm pretty sure the power to weight ratios, the size of tire was dictated by your power. So that the tire was a different size. They just never go into what size because, that would be way too specific. And you could, so I don't know what the size of tire was, but they do make mention where they're not going to be the stock size.
Okay. Because like stock for stock, power to weight ratio, GRE6 ain't there with some of those cars. But like for instance, so GRE6, what, like just under 3,000 pounds or so,
give or take.
or just over. The GT3 is probably within maybe 300-400 pounds of that GR86, but it also has like 300 more horsepower.
Yep.
So I'm like, bro, this fucking show.
Close.
And when they were talking about at the very beginning the AMG GTS, I'm like, the GTS is like, it's a performance car. I get it. It is, however, this being, as you said, in the future, there are 2 other models above the GTS that would have been far more suitable for this particular application and would have made way more sense from a performance aspect. Like if you look at the GTS, think of that as like the base Corvette. The 2 above it would be like the Z06 and the ZR1. And I'm like,
night and day.
Yeah, night and day. And I'm like, bro, what are you guys doing right now? Y'all are killing me. But I get it. It's all in fun for the show. It's an entertainment value thing. I get it.
Yep.
So, but like I said, I'm just probably slightly more critical than the type of person that would watch this show.
So here's kind of a car question. As somebody who's been overseas, do you know what an Alpine is?
Absolutely. That Alpine 110 A110 that showed up at the end.
Yeah.
That car is dope.
Kooky, the disgusting, creepy guy. That's his car. So the A110 is know nothing about that car. So you want to kind of
so the most comparable car that was shown in season 1 to the A110 is that Alfa Romeo 4C. Very similar type of mentality in the way that car was created and how its driving performance is. The 4C is a bit wider than the A110. So the A110 might not be able to handle as well. It's still a rear-wheel drive mid-engine car. Super cool. I wish we got them in America, but American car market, fuck us, right? We don't get all the cool stuff. But that car is super duper cool. Super duper cool. They they recently announced a kind of hopped up version of it.
Okay.
It's a turbocharged 4-cylinder. I think the base one is 350 to 400 horsepower.
Got
It's
a little
super.
motor get up.
Yeah, so it was an homage to an old Alpine racing car, the old A110 from back in like the 60s and 70s. So it actually looks very similar to that car.
Interesting.
It's
Okay.
I think it's a dual clutch transmission. Like I said, it's a super cool car. I wish we got them here. It'd probably be also like comparable to that Lotus that was racing as well. So same type class as the 4C and the Lotus.
Yep.
The out of those three, if I had to pick one for the application of the race that's in this show, 100% would be the Lotus. Not even a question. That Lotus would destroy those other two cars just from a handling aspect, because that car is that's Lotus's mentality. Lightweight, handles well, and that is what they do, and they are one of the best at it.
Absolutely.
They don't get a whole lot of hype like McLarens or Ferraris and Lamborghinis and stuff do, because they're kind of like not as well known, and they're definitely not anywhere near as big of a company as any of those other ones. But from a sheer performance aspect, they are incredible. Actually, one of Lotus's most recent cars, they created an all electric hypercar called the Avaya, and
I've seen that one. It's super
yeah,
nice.
it is almost 2,000 horsepower, all electric, and in that realm of hypercars, it's one of the lightest, and it handles that way, and it is incredible. So Lotus knows what they're doing. I actually kind of found it a little bit surprising to see actually, I found it surprising to see that 4C in this show too. The 4C out of the Lotus. I'm like, man.
I think Lotus gets a bad name because they have the Elise, which is, I've not heard a lot of good things about that car. And
so from a quality control, build quality aspect, it's just a very small company. They're not going to have that fit and finish of companies that could dump millions into R&D. But from a driving dynamics perspective, they're pretty dope. Actually, my buddy and I, we were looking at a property so that we could go shooting on. And a guy that has a house down the street from that property, he has 3 Lotuses.
nice.
And that's in upstate Alabama. Like crazy, right?
Yep. I will say, so Kooky later in the series actually upgrades his car, and will or if you remember, you cannot change manufacturers. You can change types. So basically, you can upgrade, but you can't go to a completely different make of car.
Right. That's why the guy went from that Civic to the NSX, which is wrong. It is not a rear-wheel drive car. It is a hybrid all-wheel drive car, which is stupid. And when they said that in the show, I'm like, no, bro, that is not what that car is.
That is the one time where my ears perked up. I'm like, everything about this is wrong.
Yeah, I'm like, hold on now, no. I'm like, wait a minute, what?
Which I'm happy in the manga they're like, nah, it's essentially not a street version of the same car. I'm like, okay, that I guess I'll take that.
Right. So, and when you explain that to me, I'm like, okay, I guess that makes sense. But
yeah, that's anime logic into making this car work.
Yeah, anime logic. All right, 100%.
I do have a question. So we're gonna kind of go off on another slight tangent. Of the 15 car options, obviously the 86 is not going to be one of them. But if you had one that you could race with and also one that you could drive, you can daily, which ones would you pick?
I would race with the Porsche GT3.
Okay.
100%, because that car is amazing. It's one of the best driver's cars out there. And for this type of race, kind of the canyon carver, twisty, because it's not an actual racetrack, it's roads, which they make very clear. That would be the car I would pick.
Okay.
If I had to pick one for a daily, probably that AMG GTS.
Okay.
That's a really good daily car. It's got lots of space. That engine is basically bulletproof. Like their Mercedes uses that engine in everything. So it's a 4-liter twin turbo V8. Or it might be 4.4 liter, but they use that that engine in everything. And there are people putting well over 1,000 horsepower through that engine, and it's reliable. One of the YouTubers I watch, so he has the big dog of the AMG GT cars. He has the AMG GTR Black Series or GT Black Series, and his is.
I want to say they called it GTR.
So they have a GTR,
yeah,
and then there's the GTR Black Series.
Okay.
Or the GT Black Series. So there's GT. Okay. So there's the GT, the GTC, the GTS, GTR, and GT Black Series. Okay. The GTS is kind of the middle road one. But the YouTuber I watch, he has a GT Black Series that he upgraded the turbos on, and he's pushing like 850 horsepower through it. And that's his road trip car. Like, he packs up the rear end because it's got a bunch of space in the trunk, and he drives it everywhere. Like, I think he's got probably over 30,000 miles on that car at 850 horsepower. He's taking it all over Europe. He's taken it to the Middle East. He's brought it to America a couple times. I think one of the coolest things he did was he took it up to the Arctic Circle for a Mercedes snow driving course, and he put studded snow tires on it, and he was ripping around on a frozen lake.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
I'm like, okay, yeah, that car is bulletproof. That's awesome. And that car for a while held the production car lap record at the Nürburgring. I think it did like a 640 something.
Nice. Very nice.
Yeah. So
for a production car, that says a lot.
Yeah. So what about you? What would you race and what would you drive daily?
I agree. The GT3 is probably going to be the best option of them. I'll be honest. I'd pick the GTR. It's something I've wanted this is something in a lifetime I could actually afford to buy. Yeah. And it's like a realistic dream car. And so that's kind of why it's just stuck in my head where it's like, yeah, I want a GTR. I saw, right before I went on deployment, somebody, of course it was a warrant officer. He bought a brand new black edition GTR right before deployment.
Okay.
And ever since I saw that, I'm like, I want that car. I want that car.
So I've had two friends that were in the Air Force. So one of them, he was when I met him, it was an E6, and he had a Mustang GT350. Okay. He had the only rapid blue one in Europe, which was crazy.
Okay. Yeah.
Those cars have terrible oil consumption problems with that engine. So he got it fixed. He got Ford to fix it. And then he was like, all right, I'm done with this car. And he sold it. Yeah. And he bought a Mark IV Supra.
Yep.
Fixed it up, got it running right, got it repainted and everything. And then
that is a 90s Supra, by the way. In case anybody who doesn't know, that is essentially the Supra everybody wants, the Fast and Furious Supra.
Yeah, the Fast and Furious Supra. So he got it all fixed up, repainted, body in amazing condition, and then somebody offered him a bunch of money for it, and he went and bought from a warrant officer a GTR. He bought an R35 GTR. It was rough. It was in some rough shape, but he got it fixed up, and that was the one I got to ride in, and it was crazy. But I think he only paid like $50K for it, 55.
Yeah, I remember when I was looking at him a while ago. You could find a used one for like high 30s to high 40s, depending on mileage and condition and everything. I was like, oh, that's not insane. You cannot find that now. That's double, triple the price now.
Yeah. And then I have another friend that I met out there. When I met him, he had an Audi S3.
Okay. Yep.
When he got back to the States, he got promoted to E6, got rid of the S3 and bought a GTR, an R35 GTR. Like you said, they are definitely a more attainable, very high performance car. So they're really cool. I wouldn't want a daily one of those only because, like, having ridden in one, they have back seats. You need like tiny children that could fit in those back seats if you needed to.
I'm not dailying this for the kids. This is for me.
Absolutely. But yeah, I think I'd pick that GTS for my daily. It's just comfy. It's classy. Actually, I saw one for sale here last year, and I think they wanted like 45 for it, and I'm like, man, that would be sweet. But once you get into that caliber of car, and I even felt it with my M3. Once you get into that caliber of car, everything else that goes along with it is way more expensive.
Yep.
Like way more. Like, did I ever tell you? I told you that I blew the engine in an M3 before.
Yep. Yep.
Did I ever tell you how much that engine costs to replace?
Um, I mean, if you want to tell me, I'm pretty sure you have. If you don't want this to be in the recording, you don't have. You can tell me onto the side.
Oh, it doesn't matter, man.
That's fair.
The replacement engine for that M3 was like $24,000.
Yep. That sounds about right. I think.
Yeah, that type of stuff is crazy. Like just an oil change at a BMW dealership was like $300. Just an oil change. So
brakes are thousands.
Yeah, brakes can get up, especially if you get the carbon ceramics, because a carbon ceramic disc, just one disc, is like $5,000. So once you get into that caliber of car, like once I say you pass the, I'd say like $60,000-$70,000 price range for a car, everything else goes up with it, like astronomically. And people don't understand that. I get it; it's a learning experience type thing, but yeah, it gets crazy.
It's hilarious. Ryan and I met through the Subaru community many years, almost actually 10 years ago at this point.
Yeah.
And like, it's always funny seeing all the people complain about the price of Subarus. And then you're like, Subarus are cheap comparatively. Like everything that people like get into after the fact, you're like, you were complaining about a Subaru? Like,
yeah,
that is not anything crazy. Now, the problem with Subarus is that they're supposed to be like the marketable, reasonably priced performance car. Those two sentences or those two words do not match.
No.
You can't have those two things.
No.
So
like I think my biggest perspective thing about that was, so in Germany you got a winter tire law. During winter you have to have winter tires. You can get fined if you don't. And for the M3, those were big tires. those big tires. And that was my first experience with it. So one day I was standing outside, like a set of 4 for me was like $2,000. So I was standing outside smoking, and one of my fellow NCOs was walking up, and she just looked angry and mad. And I'm like, hey, what's wrong? What's going on? And she's like, oh, I just had to buy winter tires for my car. I'm like, oh, well, how much did that cost? And she's like, oh, it was like $300. And I'm like, for
what?
For how many tires? And she's like, oh, for all 4. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna make you not sad right now or not angry. I'm gonna put this into perspective for you. So that price you paid for all 4 tires for your car wouldn't buy 1 tire for my car. And she's like, oh. I'm like, yeah. So you need to cheer up a little bit, because hey, it's all about perspective here. And I just dropped some perspective on you on how fortunate you are to pay that much for your tires versus what I have to pay. So,
and your summer tires are probably
cheaper. They're cheaper than winter tires, 100%, which is weird. I know that sounds odd, but
that sounds very odd.
So like my summer tires on the M3, I got a set of 4 Michelin P4S's for like $1,000, which is fantastic deal.
Yeah, that's not bad at all. I was thinking probably about the same price, if not more. So that works. That works.
Winter tires are way more expensive, which doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
It's probably, supply and demand. They only need so many. And
I honestly think it's more of a compound thing, because the winter tires are going to last longer than your summer tires are, like not even close. So the summer tires can, like, I'm about to get some new tires on the Audi, and that's going to be another $1,000. But if I was to get winter tires for them, it'd probably be like $1,800.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So,
all right.
But I don't really care about winter tires on the Audi because all-wheel drive.
And you live in the South. Hey,
we get snow here, man. Maybe not as much as you, but we get snow here.
And everything shuts down. So
you're not wrong. If we get like 4 inches of snow here, the town will shut down for like 2 days.
People see snow and they start crashing. It doesn't even have to be snowing.
Dude, like, I don't know what it is. So one thing I miss about Germany the most, they're by far the best drivers I've ever been around in my life. Like, just regular drivers on the road, they are really, really good drivers. As soon as I got back to America, it it rains and people forget how to drive. I'm like, what are you doing, man?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so yeah, I definitely get it. For you watchers out here, if y'all ever get the chance to go to Germany, 100% recommend it. Driving over there is amazing. The culture, the landscape, the views, everything is just amazing over there.
Still, kind of back to MF Ghost. I enjoyed the cars. That was definitely a lot of fun.
Yeah.
As far as season 2, I'm going to tell you the 2 races that are going to happen. So the first race it's going to be a long course. Rain is going to be 99% of the race. So Kanata is going to be, let's see, what's the proper term? His disadvantage is no longer going to be a disadvantage because he didn't really do anything as far as upgrading the vehicle. You had mentioned it: brakes, intake, suspension, which had already been done. Exhaust.
Muffler. Yeah.
Yep. So very minimal, really no upgrades whatsoever when it comes to the car besides the brakes. And then the third race, he gets his turbo, but it is a more compact race with a lot of turns, and basically he is on par because he's a smaller car, and that's what it is. So I like season 2 better because we got 2 races in the 12 episodes versus 1 race in the 12 episodes. One thing I will say is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 episodes is 1 race. So yeah, very long. It's very, very long. Basically, 1 lap is 1 episode.
Right. So it's the Frieza fight. 5 minutes. And this planet will explode 30 episodes later. 2 minutes. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I'll be honest. I do not expect you to watch season 2. It's
yeah, man. That's a tough ask for
I do not expect it. I do appreciate you watching season 1. This conversation was a lot of fun, but it's let's be honest. This is a show about cars. For the most part, did you at least enjoy seeing the cars?
Yeah, I enjoyed seeing the cars. The kind of off-track drama was meh.
Yeah.
It was kind of meh, really.
Yeah.
The slice of lifey part was like like when Kanata shows up and he gets introduced to that one girl's like school friends and they kind of go crazy over him. I'm like, I don't care about this. It's about racing, right? That's what I want to see. So
no, I get it. I completely get that one. All in all, don't tell car people to watch the show without giving them a warning. That's what I'm gonna put.
Yeah, definitely give them a warning.
So that's my bad.
Yeah, otherwise they're gonna go into it like I did and be like,
This is
I will say one thing that I guess was expecting or hoping with the whole it being a predecessor or successor to Initial D, the guy that gave him the 86. I was hoping that he had like some sort of connection back to Initial D because that's kind of what I was thinking. I'm like, oh, you're giving him 86. Oh, you must have been around home dudes back when they were racing down the mountain against the ghost. Like, what is it? Is that what's going on?
Yep.
No, not at all. I'm like,
Yeah, I looked up Ogata and I was like, maybe he was somewhere. Nope, he's not even listed in the Initial D character list. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that's one of the things. I think that was a missed opportunity, in my opinion.
One thing I will say is the gas station in the gas station from Initial D, some people from Initial D are brought up in season 2. Like we actually get to hear them talk and all this other fun stuff. So they're brought up. They watch MF Ghost. They are cheering on the 86 because of exactly what you said, which is they get the nostalgia to it.
Right.
But that's as far as it goes.
They
could have done a lot better. It was playing on all of the heartstrings of people who loved Initial D without getting any of the benefits of loving Initial D.
Right. Right. That's kind of how it seemed to me a little bit, because like
Yep.
the whole time I was waiting for those references or something like that and never got it. Like for instance, another missed opportunity nostalgia thing. So recently I watched the Captain America where Falcon was Captain America.
Yep.
And spoiler alert for those that haven't seen it, Harrison Ford was president. So way back when, there was a movie called Air Force One where Harrison Ford was president. And one of his big lines from that movie was, "Get off my plane." And I was waiting for that in this movie, and it never happened. I'm like, oh, missed opportunity. So something like that, along the lines of that, is like the missed opportunity I see from this show. But
Yeah,
I could see how they were trying to draw in a new crowd without alienating the people that grew up with Initial D or are fans of it. So
Yep. Okay. Thank you again, Ryan, for joining me on this episode. I am sorry that I did not pre-warn you about what to expect on this show. That's on me. It's a learning experience. I do appreciate you at least watching through the first season.
Yep, absolutely, man. Glad I could have this discussion. It was lots of fun. Definitely something I needed. So
good. I definitely enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. It's been a long time since we've been able to just kind of talk about cars, which is really what anime is all about. Just kind of being able to get around and talking about everything you love, right?
Absolutely. We gotta pick another show to do another one, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you, everybody, for listening to us this far. Please subscribe to us, drop a like, and leave a comment on whatever platform you are listening to us on. Also, please subscribe to the Anime Show on Facebook and Instagram. Check out all the awesome anime content they have on there, and have a good one.